Good evening, everyone. I'm calling tonight's meeting of the Albany Community Police Review Board to order. Antoinette Santos, can you lead us in roll call?
Yes. Chair Nairobi Vives.
Present.
Secretary John Lewandowski.
Present.
Dr. Vanilla Harden. Paul Collins Hackett.
Present.
Victor Person.
Present.
Emily Sowick.
Present.
Also present is Shaniqua Jackson, the city clerk, Brian Jimenez, the legislative director, and Garrett Schaff, program director.
Thank you, Tony. Moving on to the next item in the agenda, the approval of the May 22nd, 2025 minutes. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve the minutes.
Thank you, John. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, aye, or raise your hand.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, so moved. Next on the agenda is changes to the agenda. I do have a proposed change. I'm moving to move my report from the chair. It's item H on our agenda to the new business section, which is K on the agenda. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? So moved. Any other changes to the agenda before we move on? Thank you. Now we're moving on to the public comment section. Any members of the public here in the council chamber or online, if you wish to speak, you have 3 minutes to do so. We always like to remind everyone, if you have a case pending with the board, you do not have to share your name or any other identifying information, as we keep that confidential. Do we have anyone who would like to make a public comment? Hearing none, I'm going to move on to the next item on the agenda, which is communications from the City of Albany and a report from the Office of Professional Standards. Detective Lieutenant Riddy.
Good evening, everyone. So I'll just go over the same stats that I go over every time as far as the Office of Professional Standards and where we stand. Between the last CPRB meeting and this current one, we have completed and or forwarded a total of 4 complaints. 3 have been moved for completion. 1 is currently in my review. And since then, we've also been in receipt of 10 new complaints that are currently assigned out and being investigated. Other than that, I really don't have any new business to bring up. We are currently revisiting the whole hiring process again, so hopefully get some new officers within our ranks as well. And we're also looking at the NACOL conference and getting someone sent out for that. So, but that's the new business that we have from the office. Any questions for me?
Any questions for Detective Lieutenant Riddy? Thank you for your report. Moving on to the next item on the agenda, do we have any board member announcements? Hearing none, we will move on. We'll move on to our CPRB committee reports. Tony, do you have a report from the Bylaws and Rules Committee?
Not an official report, just a notification to everybody that the bylaws are going through major changes right now. The consultants right now are working on several changes that will be given to the board members for future votes. So the consultants are working on a lot of things.
Thank you for that, Tony. Any questions or comments for Tony? I just want to personally say thank you. I know with a lot of changes to our structure and things like that comes a lot of work on the bylaws and rules, so I appreciate your work there. Moving on to community outreach. Batman, do you have a report from the Community Outreach Committee?
Yep. Just a couple of things to share. There have been recent incidents. An individual was found hanging from a tree, which was a cause for concern recently. I've been in contact with the chief, who's shared as much information as he can as things develop and unfold, and that's been a great way of just communicating with the department to get messaging out to the greater city and stuff like that. So as that develops, we continue to work closely with him to ensure that only accurate information is coming out, no one's jumping to conclusions, helps us improve relationships with transparency and trust. Additionally, we have a bunch of events coming up that we're going to be at. Alert has an event in July at the MVP Arena. There's community movie nights that we're going to be tabling at, and there's other things. So there's a pretty robust schedule coming up of community-based appearances where people can reach out to us. And then we're also working with a bunch of community groups and the county as they seek to develop a community oversight board on the county level. So we're working with a bunch of different groups in a bunch of different ways, but it works because everybody's on the same page and communicating openly.
Thank you, Batman. Any questions or comments for Batman? Thank you for your work on all of that as well. Moving on to the investigation committee. John, do you have a report?
Yes, thank you, Chairperson. The investigation committee is currently working to maximize the efficiency as we resume presenting citizens' complaints during the scheduled CPRB monthly public meetings. Our board plans to reinitiate the presentations of reports, presenting reports during our July 10th meeting. We will start with our completed monitor reports and go forward from there. Our our intention is to have each board member present at least 2 complaints at every meeting by September. We also plan on conducting an August meeting, if quorum allows, to maximize opportunities for the public for public reports to be presented due to the several months of the pause that was necessitated by our transition into the city structure. From the start of the year, the board and OPS has received approximately over 30 complaints. The investigation committee will distribute these new complaints to members and monitors on a case-to-case basis, and hope we can begin reporting our findings with these and past complaints shortly. The investigation committee also is working on steps necessary to post for positions for both CPRB senior investigator and investigator. We hope to post these job postings shortly as we seek to become a more independent, autonomous regulatory body. I would also like to say, I would like to point out that to the public that there's space on this board for board member positions to be filled. We are at a time in our city's and nation's history when civic involvement is imperative. If we want to keep Albany as a city where the populace is able to engage and influence how we are governed and policed, we need citizens who will step up. We are working to create and maintain the kind of city we all want to live in. This doesn't happen without people who stand up and make sure things happen. Just an end note, in this meeting we'll be voting on a proposed investigation and subpoenas related to the investigation. We'll talk about that prior to those votes in new business. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Any questions or comments for John? I just want to say thank you for the investigation committee's work, but I also just want to underscore what you said, John, about the need for more board members on this board. Truly, this has been one of the most fulfilling things that I've done in my career, my work with the CPRB. So I echo what John says and highly encourage anyone who wants to be involved. And I know that there's been several posts from the city about open positions on other boards as well. Get involved if you care about the future of the city and want to make a change. Thank you for that. Moving on to our mediation committee, Dr. Harden, do you have a report?
No formal report, Chair Vivas. Just wanting to report again that we do have 2 contracted mediators on board to begin to use that as a strategy for complaints. And in addition to that, I have to give Vice Chair Santos, we are updating the bylaws to for mediation, which have switched over from the law school to where we are now under the city. I'll roll right over into the police liaison committee that John Lewandowski, it should be updated that he's now the chair of the police liaison committee and has restarted that or plans to restart that in the coming months.
Thank you, Dr. Harden. Moving on to public official liaison committee report. That no official report from my committee. There'll be updates in our next board meeting with the update and reconvening of that committee. Thank you. Any questions, I'm sorry, any questions for Dr. Harden on either of her reports, or me? Thank you. Moving on to new business, we have no items under old business. The first item is the consideration of an investigation. It is AD 2025-029, TASER deployment on April 2025. The other item under new business is consideration for subpoenas for that same case. So I will turn it over to John, and is Julie on? with
Julie's
us?
on, I could speak to too.
I'll turn it over to our investigation committee chair.
Yes, thank you, Chair Vivas. Yeah, so we received notification of this pretty early on, as soon as it happened, actually through the news. I'd like to thank Lieutenant Riddy at OPS. He allowed us to see the videos they did have very quickly. OPS, we had a nice conversation. They're taking this seriously. One thing with this case is it doesn't only encompass OPS-held documents. There's also, the department is also using private footage from store cameras and other footage to get different vantage points to get a total look at the situation. So one of the reasons for the subpoenas is to get that access and make sure it's clear what we can get and what we can't, what we're able to view and look at and work with. And for us to get a subpoena, part of our structure is also we need to have an investigation. So this is a good opportunity for us to look at TASER policy, but also the incident that, along with the incident that happened on April 25th. And we'll continue to work with our investigators at TNM and as well as OPS to make sure everything is out and open.
Thank you, John. Julie, did you have anything you want to add before we vote? I don't know about Julie's connection, but John, do you have a motion?
Yes, can I make a motion for an investigation into AD 2025-029? Can I get a
I second.
Hold on one second, please. Julie just says she has a holdup, so I don't think I don't know, she says, what is the holdup?
Oh,
So I don't know if
Give
there's
us-
something wrong.
One question,
There's a
1 second.
holdup?
Brian, is Brian there to
Yeah.
let her on? She's on there, but she might be muted.
Yeah.
Yeah, is it, okay. Can you just, okay.
Hold on 1 second.
Bear with us for 1 second while we figure out the technical issue.
Okay, you got it. All right. Julie, can you hear us?
She's writing something right now.
Julie, can you hear us?
Now I can.
Okay, we can hear
Thank you,
you.
guys.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll hold off on the vote, and so Julie, if you had any comments that you wanted to share?
Well, I have two requests. I don't know where you are on the agenda. And Mike Goldstein was trying to get on also, and he texted me, so maybe I should tell him what's happening, if you give me a second.
Sure. Just to fill you in, we are in new business. We're considering the investigation and the subpoenas for AD 2025-029. John gave us a little bit of background.
Okay, so, so I'm requesting a subpoena. Well, first, I guess you have to vote if it's going to be an investigation.
All right, I make a motion to make an investigation as 1A of the new business. Can I get a second?
Second.
Do we have any items for discussions or questions before we vote? All right, all in favor, aye, or raise your hand.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, so moved.
All right, now we're going to the subpoenas related to AD 2025029. Julie, could you comment on that?
I couldn't hear you, John.
We're now moving to consideration of subpoenas for that same case.
Yes, based on that it's now an investigation and there's some serious issues involved, and the board has voted for an investigation, I'm requesting a subpoena for the case file.
Making a motion for subpoena for the case file, including APD owned documentation and the documentation APD has from private sources.
I second the motion. Any questions or comments for discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, aye, or raise your hand. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, so moved. Thank you, Julie. Thank you, John, for that. I also, at the top of the meeting, moved my report from the chair to new business. And in doing so, because I sadly, but with a lot of hope and a lot of fond memories, am stepping down as chair and board member with the CPRB, effective June 17, 2025. I wrote some notes because as I am right now, pretty emotional, and figured I wouldn't be able to remember what I wanted to say to each of you. This is probably surprising to some, but our board, our executive team has been well prepared for this transition. I've been given a professional opportunity that presents a conflict with my work on the board. And while I'll be absent from these meetings in this role, I will still be present in the oversight community and happy to continue on the great work that I've started doing here. For this board and for the city, like I said earlier, this has been one of the most fulfilling endeavors that I've ever been a part of in my life. We've had some challenges, but I don't want to dwell on those because we've overcome so much and attained so many achievements in a very short time, some that I still can't believe that we were able to do. There's truly no better group of people I could have chosen to do this work for me, board members past and present. I just want to say thank you to each and every one of you. I want to say thank you to our staff, old and new, to our consultants, to our investigators, to our attorneys. Without all of you, we couldn't be the board that we are today. I want to say thank you to the community and community leaders that inform our work and guide us and keep us honest and true to our mission. I want to thank the Common Council and its staff, especially Tom Hoey, Kelly Kimbrough, Derek Johnson, Corey Ellis, Jamal Robinson, former council member Gabriela Romero, Owusu Anane, Sonia Frederick, Joyce Love, Sergio Adams. You all especially have been truly supportive of the board and especially me in this role, and I thank you so much for that support. I want to say to board members past and present that this city is in great hands with each and every one of you. The dedication and love that you show for the work that we do is amazing. To my former vice chair, Dr. Harden, the 1-2 punch that I think that we brought was just amazing. It was such a great experience working with you. To my current vice chair, as you ascend to the role of chair, I hope you all know that I'm leaving and I'm sad, but I'm not at all fearful of what's to come for the future of this board because Toni is tough, she's smart, and she loves this community first and foremost. So I'm turning it over, and I'm always here for all of you. To our counterparts at the Albany Police Department, OPS, thank you so much. Again, we've also had some challenges, had to overcome things, but especially under the leadership of Commander Maury, with you, Detective Lieutenant Ritty, with Chief Cox, we've been able to work together to find reasonable solutions to problems, and it's been great working with all of you. To my family, especially my husband, who without him I wouldn't be able to do half the things I do. To my kids, who Carter doesn't even know, a mom that isn't the chair of the CPRB. I was pregnant with him when I joined this board. I'm just thank you for the time. To my mom and my in-laws and my aunties who support me through all of this stuff, and who are my friends who listen to me when I'm challenged and having a hard time. Thank you so much. I just want to say, and I don't want to make this long, but I just want to say that being chair to the city of Albany, to the Common Council, to the board members, I am sometimes humbled to think that you all trusted me in this role. So thank you for that. And I'm gonna stop talking if I forgot to thank somebody. I want to say thank you to our former colleagues at the law school, to our former program managers, for all the work that you helped us do, to all of the advocates that came before that worked so hard for oversight in the city of Albany, for each and every person that supported us through Local Law J, everyone who stopped us on the streets to give us a pat on the back. It was so meaningful through that, to have that experience. But I'm just gonna end it there because I'm probably gonna start crying and I don't want to. Thank you. And with that, for new business, obviously Tony will ascend to the chair position, but we do have vice chair and secretary open. I am moving that we vote to fill those positions with John Lewandowski to take the vice chair role, and Emily Sowick to take the secretary role. If we could vote on those items, that would be my recommendation. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second.
Thank you, John. All in favor, aye, or raise your hand.
Aye.
Any abstentions? Any opposed? So moved.
Also, really quick, there is actually another thing that was supposed to be on new business that I neglected to check over. There is two subpoenas needed for a investigation case that's currently under a court order, so we can't give the details of that case. We talked about this at our investigation meeting. OPS is prepared for it. Julie can talk about it quickly as well.
Sure.
But I would just like to stop and say thank you for your leadership. I don't think we would be where we are today without you, in any sense of the terms. You truly are born and bred in Albany, and you live and breathe the city. And I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you for being who you are and doing what you do.
Thank you, John.
My turn? Similar, I'm in the risk of being redundant. Same thing, ditto to everything that John said. Not for nothing, sometimes this is thankless work. Sometimes it takes hours, late nights, meetings, things you don't want to do, but you do them because you understand it's important, and you sacrifice time with your kids, your family, and everything else. Thank you so much. As a review board, as Batman, as everything, like as a human, bro, like thank you so much for what you've done, and we'll try to make you proud, you know?
Thank you, Ann. And I think we might be the only oversight body with an actual Superman or superhero on it. So, I mean, we're set for life. So, Julie, did you want to speak on the subpoenas? And I know what John shared is that this case has a court order, and we can't say too much. But is there anything that you can share for the board before we vote?
Sure, but before that, I also want to wish you well, Nairobi. It has been more than a pleasure working with you. Your professionalism and your dedication to the board it was so refreshing and so wonderful to work with. I know the board is going to miss you. You're going to be Albany's loss, but the state of New York will get you, so we're not totally losing you. So I just, on behalf of me and my colleagues at TNM, we only want to wish you the best. So I just wanted to get a chance to say that. And
Thank
yes,
you, Julie. Thank you
You're
so much.
we do have a confidential investigation. We are under a court order not to discuss it publicly, but we, as part of it, we just would like to subpoena 2 officers to be interviewed. And so I'm asking the board to vote on the subpoena for 2 officers to be interviewed.
Julie, you're allowed to provide the case number for that?
I didn't know if I should give the case number.
We do know what the case
You know.
numbers are.
Right.
And Garrett, yeah, we can text it to you, so,
Yeah, I discussed it with Garrett too, so
Yeah.
he knows what it, I mean, everyone knows, but since we're public and we're under a court order to be confidential, maybe I'm being overly cautious, but I don't want to jeopardize the investigation, so, that's why I'm not giving any, identifying details.
yes, for the members of the public, we are just exercising an abundance of caution, so we do not upset any judges or violate any court orders. Julie, is there anything else that you wanted to add before we vote?
No,
Thank
unless
you.
the board had any questions that I could answer.
John, or Investigation
I'm
Committee?
going to make a motion to add this confidential case to subpoenas to the agenda. Can I get a second?
Thank you. Any questions or comments for discussion for John? All in favor? Aye, raise your hand.
All right. Now I'm going to make a motion to vote to approve those 2 subpoenas for this confidential case.
Second.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Harden. Any questions or comments for John? All in favor? Aye, or raise your hand. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Hearing none, so moved. Thank you both. With that, we don't have any other items under new business. We don't have any complaints for review, so I move to adjourn tonight's meeting. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful evening. Goodbye.
You too. Thank you, Nairobi.
Thank you.
Thanks, Julie. Bye.
Bye.